Ladies and Germans, how are you all doing? This is Conolric.
This is Rangru, low.
And folks, give me more monthly tournament action. This time on Orsha North, we see two familiar names. Who do we see, sir?
Left-hand side in the blue, we have an EasternDream playing 21st Panzer with a Maverick income. Right-hand side in red, we have the 8th Romanian Cavalry played by Mimile, also with a Maverick income.
So I'm going to just already say that I really hope EasternDream pulls this out because he's got the Pinocchio tank moving in. I love this little plucky thing. It looks like a French tank wanted to evolve, and unfortunately evolved from, a Gyarados into a Magikarp.
Yeah.
But 21st Panzer, of course, this is attack of the tank against attack of the foot. So, this is kind of a unique setup, isn't it? We're not used to kind of seeing things that are radically this far unbalanced in terms of armor and non.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen, really proper tank divisions or being used, as everyone always goes for more meta, DLC, high-powered infantry style divisions here. But 21st isn't too bad, so Mimile did take the King Tiger, which I guess there's pros and cons to it. But honestly, on this map in the center, that thing can be a powerhouse. But speaking of the center, we've already seen a pretty decent push here from 21st with the Panzer Grenadier and flame troops getting into the town.
Yes, indeed. That's why I also see a JU-87 going the other direction. You're trying to go and aggress on an MG42, but there's actually an 88 on the field. Super early call, which actually I really kind of like.
Yeah, very good. Just the motive purpose of blowing up any tanks and keeping away those traitorous Stukas is working quite well, because that allowed them to give the air coverage so the Panzer Grenadiers can clear out the town, send in the Vanatori to Vanagoni, and that's a very good position that he is going to be able to keep control of.
Well, that's the other thing too, isn't it? Is that the 21st Panzer, despite being a Panzer division, doesn't get a lot of really solid air assets. And if you look at the Romanians, of course, the Romanians very much lean on that, I think, to kind of make up the difference from their lack of armor. So that early anti-air call-in, that's actually probably the best thing you can do with this division.
Yeah, and then looking a little bit up north, their EasternDream is kind of paying the price, because the northern central position is pretty lackluster. And Mimile has exploited that quite effectively, going to be grabbing one rather easy flag and also controlling the little farmstead complex as well. And this is nice to see, Khan. People are actually playing the center area of this map. Everyone's always center-phobic.
Yeah, and I think it's just a real big thing that I think that most of the players in SD2 are agoraphobes. They just really love having that wall behind them. It makes them fight better, knowing that their backup is against a wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're absolutely right. And really, the 21st Panzer is one of the few divisions, especially in the early stuff, before we get to the DLC monsters, that can control that central position really, really well. Yes, less infantry, that's true. But the armor that they do have and the weaponry that they do have, they don't have to worry too much about that.
Yeah, what makes 21st pretty nice is, the infantry is a bit lackluster. Panzer Grenadiers can always save the day with their two MG42s. But you have a lot of good light vehicle spam, and especially in 1v1s, we see it time and time again. Divisions which lack even just a handful of good light autocannon vehicles or light tanks can really get screwed over in these more CQC fights. We see down south here, the 231 is going to hold off against the Rosorii and going to keep at 222 from trying to go too close to it.
Yeah, I know. While we're seeing the 231 kind of fight off that kind of light push here, especially as the Flampanzer moving on in, we also did just see that 12.5% of a Romanian tank force is gone. I bring that up just for no other reason than to kind of, Flampanzer goes down early. That's a shame. Just kind of point the fact that there really is no armor. And that's a consistent thing we have to really, really be paying attention to.
Yeah, he does have a few tank destroyers later on, but even then it is rather lackluster. So they do have good anti-tank guns, to be fair, so he's just had to play much more defensively here. And if he can just keep it more towards G-Forest, up north and down south, that will be his, well, I'd say best bet, but even then there's so many 231s and German autocannons, which even those Terrans have a bit of a difficult time.
They do for now anyway, that's for sure. The central position hasn't actually completely recovered, which is kind of shocking. Then you realize, oh wait, never mind, there's MP42s. And the Flak 88 just kind of, laying down the smackdown there. And it could be even better, I would argue, for Eastern Dream if he did something more than just put a couple of a scout team in that northern central town. He's giving up 2 flags from that.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's could be getting a pretty nice little plus run if he was to just resolve that issue. But it's probably just down to Fogger Raw. I bet you he thinks there's a much scarier force in that town rather than being literally nothing in that town. So, and probably just also being too focused on the flanks as well. I do like his AB horse up north. He's in a pretty good little ambush position here. Perfectly placed, so only in autocannon range. He can't get the first shot off on a moving vehicle, which is a little bit embarrassing.
That's okay. The wet noodle contest continues somehow. Oh, there we go. Great. Nice to know that pasta's finally cooked. 231 takes out the 222, proving that the higher number usually wins. And with that, Zerini, south central position. I think we're seeing Mimile trying to maybe solidify his own kind of central setup here, because really, if he's not careful, he's going to give up, what, at least 2 flags. There's a Venatotori di Garda and the Calarasi Motor over here inside that central complex. And I would argue the 21st Panzer could even aggress east and pick up the Romanian side of that map.
100%. And nice thing of all these light vehicles as well is that you can afford to take risks like that, because if you lose a 231 or 233, it's not the end of the world compared to losing a Stug 3G. So he is getting some good trades here, and that would be quite a good move for him. But we're like, only just under 7 minutes in this match. It's been very dynamic. We're seeing packs on all flanks all the time, everywhere. I mean, far south here, we've got some Romanians hugging along the border wall, trying to get along into the forest, but once again, the light armor comes in and says no.
Well, the nice thing about this, too, is the light armor just isn't being given a single, okay, go that way move. If you actually take a look at his orders, the orders are a little bit more, okay, step it, step, step, step. It sounds like it's such a small thing, but if you can at least give some fine-tuned orders to your troops. 231, the hero 231 that had things kept under control for so long, is down. Pack 38, is he going to be engaging the Hotchkiss? No. Okay. But yeah, so we are seeing that the Pionieri Calaris over here going to be forced back as a 231 just somehow uses his binoculars and sees him.
Mm-hmm.
So well done there.
Just providing just enough fire support here to win outlet or engagement. But yeah, looking back in the center, we do have a Romanian 75mm positioned on the hill. And we are seeing, movement here from EasternDream in the northern center position with some Panzer Grenadiers to try and take out Farmstead. They're probably going to run afoul of that Zerini. Or maybe not. Maybe not. He's going to hide just in the nick of time.
Well, the funny thing is about the Zerini is that it's in a good position, but the distance actually ends up being its greatest opponent here. Also, that 75mm is now trying to engage the Pinocchio artillery piece as well as the Flak 88. Unfortunately, he's got no eyes on, so no correction will be occurring here.
No, just has to pray to RN Jesus. We've seen a decent investment down south as well from Mimile, trying to regain, I say not so much the hill position, but just the area north of the hill, because you really can't afford to lose this spot, because as you see, you got Pack 38, perfect line of sight down the road. That will pretty much, strangle his reinforcements, and as you can see, the 231 is picking off the survivors on the hill.
It certainly does seem to be doing that, doesn't it? Now, Flatpanzer are going to go, he's bailed out, so unfortunately, the Zippo Lighters of Doom, we've seen 2 so far, and 2 we have seen, and 2 have been worthless, so that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, it's always fun seeing the Flam Panzers actually, get the Flam stuff, especially for enemy Panzers.
Exactly. It should be what it says on the tin. There should be no reason we don't see stuff like that. Pack 38 is going to start to see... No, he's not. Okay, so he's in great position, but he's not fired anything, really.
No, it's just such a tight line of sight and tight window to, get a hit on. JR87 coming in. Is he going for the Panzer Grenadiers?
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, because those guys were providing havoc. I mean, even though 21st Panzer Infantry is not fancy, Panzer Grenadiers in a defensive position are still the scariest infantry you can run across.
It certainly does seem to be the case. Now, the Pack 38 does need to prove his mettle as he fires metal at this Zerini metal on the other side of that metal.
That's metal.
It's very metal. Now, unfortunately for him, the Pack 38 just really proves its whole door knocker kind of idea here goes down to really something that is well within his weight class, I would argue.
Yeah, and this is actually some pretty effective trade here from Mimile, and I think he's going to be able to reverse the momentum down south here, even get back into the southern town and start gaining some territories. He's dealt with a lot of nasty units already.
But he's got to do something because it's still 14-10. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Mimile might be having a little bit of stabilization, let's call it. But by no means is he really back in this. It's 13-11 now. We are going to see the occasional flag being kind of flipped back and forth. But I just keep looking to the northern side. There's one Terran tank, and I feel that Terran is... Well, I feel like his days are numbered.
Yeah. I think now we're getting into B phase, and later on in B phase, the lack of tanks is really going to start hurting Mimile. Where EasternDream, he's really just coming online now. He's got the Shermans, more Panzers, Marders. I mean, he has... They're not great tanks, but you don't need great tanks against 8th Cavalry. You just need tanks.
Yeah, it's always good to know that there's somebody out there who's willing to die for the cause. But the Martyr tanks themselves, I mean, they actually might even find themselves very much underutilized. At best, really being used here to take out those Hetzers.
Yeah. It's infantry support, man. I do like the Recon HS-129 down south. Playing it very defensively, just using it to... Well, just do proper reconnaissance work. Nice to see.
Exactly, that's true. I'm thinking over here, 75 in the meantime, looking to try to... Okay. Not sure I really agree with some of these decisions on this. Ooh, P4. I kind of forgot that the Terran can technically kill a P4.
Mm-hmm. The Stranger has a decent chance, but, well... A proper 75 is better than a 105 Howitzer.
Yes, it is. But anti-tank guns are being brought on in, as are some more Rosario assaults, so, you know. Okay, I mean, PTRDs, that's nice, it's cute. And for some reason, the HS-129, oh, the 88 went down at long last. Okay, so the 88's gone, which means that recon plan actually gets a lot more utility than you might think on the face of it.
Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to worry too much. We're seeing another 88 has been invested in, so he is going to be using that to regain a little bit of air dominance share. Yes, EasternDream hasn't brought out any of his own airplanes, right?
One Focke-Wulf that made a intercept on a retreating Ju-87. But I'm waiting for when the heavy tanks come out, how quickly we start seeing carpet bomb Ju-87s.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, it does have those guys. Probably going to be pretty important.
They probably will be indeed. Now, Amerikanische M4 is being brought on in. And, oh yeah, that's right, we have the P4Cs. So those are the true infantry support guns, like the early war infantry support guns. What is that's not a 105 on that, no.
It's 75
mil short barrel.
It's a short one.
Yeah.
It's the ones they originally used to invade France, and they're like, oh god.
And then
we're sending them back to defend it now.
Are they like B2s do this? No. Now, I kind of like those because while they're not great online tanks, they're going to be those nice infantry support guns, and they're mobile and they're fairly defensible, which, again, like we've been constantly saying here, Romanians don't have in spades. Mm-hmm. So,
just cheap tanks, in North and North, you can really take good advantage of them in like the rather popular flank hill positions. Just CQC 75 and heck out heat round from the P4C can be quite surprising.
It certainly can be. It certainly can be. I admit I was waiting for that quad mounted anti-air gun on the SDKF set 7-1 when he had that flak veering kind of moved on forwards to really put some hurt on the Romanians holding the northern hill. But, you know, I guess on the face of it, so long as they can keep the Venatori Decade a little bit further away from the P4, well, then things will continue to be Gucci.
Mm-hmm. It definitely feels like with Mimile, like, looking at the center of the map, things are very much stagnated into defensive lines, and in that case, EasternDream pretty much has the advantage as much more heavy firepower. So for Mimile, his best in what he's doing is just invest heavily up north and try to capture the northern hill, and then probably hook on round down and get into the town to play CQC here, but as you can see here, the lack of anti-tank is really hurting him. That Panzer IV and Panzer M4 was annihilating everything. Panzer IV not so much anymore.
That was the Pioneer he took it out with, actually, with the Gebote So
That's what?
yeah, well, HP
Wow.
damage,
Wow.
HP damage eventually. So that does actually happen. Just is not the most common. Looking down south, Calabasas and Moto trying very, very hard to repeat their kind of brethren's experience over here on the northern side. Not likely to happen. But every now and again, we're seeing small bits of hope over here for the Romanians. The receipt to 75mm taking a half track in the center, but unfortunately for them, the peak grants have already been in place. But Mimile has managed to claw back a 1311 for now.
Slowly getting his way through. He just needs. His main problem is just trading effectively against the tank, so he can get past these annoying open areas and stick more to the cozy forest here. Panzer IV getting annihilated. Flam Panzer going in for the end run here, reuniting with the half track. But Zerini, he's doing work.
And we're seeing a couple of 105s on the map here, looking to engage and take out these anti-tank positions. The few that there are, but I think that's a really, really solid idea.
Yeah, those are really his major, threat he has to worry about, because he needs those tanks to get the infantry advantage so he can win the match. You see, he knocked out 75mm, he's immediately counterattacking with the Panzer IV. He didn't really have much forward support, just as a little bit risky here. But still, just good use of the 105 and its counter battery role. Or, I say, precision targeting role.
Well, the funny thing about this is there's 100 mils on the other side trying now to hunt for both 105 positions. So the 105s are shooting for infantry. The 100s are firing the other direction, trying to find the 105s. I mean, you have to probably give it to the 100 mils because they have the, let's say, recency being engagement here. It's not them having to retask their batteries going the other direction. Somebody's surprised to see the 105s get forced back, at least if nothing else, into a nice little pin. But, the 105s, while they're being engaged, it means then that the 100s are not engaged in the front line.
Yeah, and he got some very good hits already on these 105s. Very effective counter battery, and he needs to get out effective counter battery to keep his anti-tank guns alive to blow up the tanks so he can use his infantry advantage. All plays in together.
It certainly does. It certainly does. Checking the northern side real quick. Sturm Pioneer being moved on in, trying to push back the Rosoria assaults. They're going to go down before the Venatori Decade gets taken out. So the Boita Sherman falls back. And there's that Focke Wolf, the 190, kind of going with a couple ground target runs, but nothing too crazy.
It's very much Mimile is kind of pinned down on this hill. He's in a good defensive position, but he doesn't want to defend. He wants to attack. But the few tanks and just a decent Panzer Grenadier defense, especially for the light forest, because the Panzer Grens can take advantage of machine guns in light forest, is proven to be quite a pain here. I see Mimile trying to sneak in a few Panzer track teams to knock out a tank or two, but the Panzer Grenadiers will probably intercept.
They probably will. And we're seeing right now some of the troops behind the front lines getting taken out at long last. It is 13-11 in favor of Mimile over EasternDream, but I wouldn't be celebrating too much just yet. I feel like Mimile is still kind of going to have himself quite a nightmare before he wakes up.
Yeah, and just how the pace of the match is going, and especially Mimile, he's been ticked down the majority of the match, and now he's, catching up to EasternDream. Well, this is going to be a long run. This is going to be a battle of attrition. And, Mimile does have the C-Phase infantry card, which is the all-important card, which, is your backup plan with Maverick here. So, it'd be curious to see whether it's going to come down to infantry attrition or tank attrition.
Here's the issue. If it's infantry attrition, yeah, we already know how that's going to go. However, if we have tanks in any kind of remotely, let's say, distance range-based opinion, that's going to be impossible for the Romanians to deal with.
Yeah. They're going to lose the tank attrition. I think it's just about getting into the forest and taking advantage of the infantry, but even then it does limit your mobility quite a bit. I mean, we're just seeing down south here, the circus is coming into town right down the road. And it's not a whole lot of anti-tank to deal with it. There's like a Bofors and some anti-aircraft guns, but it's nothing substantial to stop it.
No, there's a Colorasi, and that's about it. I mean, there's a Venator Cade over here again, but he's, a good 10-minute walk from getting anywhere necessary and kind of worthwhile. Of course, you do say that P4 does go down 75 mil. Congratulations there from the Rosita AC. But Sherman just continues to drive on forwards, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sherman takes out the Pack 38 that the Romanians have over here.
Mm-hmm. If you can get eyes on that, as he is very much leading the charge. I believe he does.
He's in the... Okay, there we go. So he's in the smallest kind of way over here. Pack 38 is going to get set up and engaging him before too much longer. Loader wounded. Oof, that's rough. But the extra Brownings might be enough to kind of set this off here. Yeah, I think that's enough to the amount of stress he needs.
It's another one of those confusing engagements, Khan, where you have a Romanian anti-tank gun. A Romanians using a German anti-tank gun to blow up an American tank manned by Germans.
Well, it's good they're being manned by the Germans. If you remember the Brits, we'd have like the whole Condor Legion going on here. Not really sure if history is ready for that particular story today. But the M4 takes out the Pack 38, and that's another very, very vital piece from the defense gone. Like you said, yeah, we are in Phase C, which means that there could be Resorii galore. And we'll even see a couple of the absolute bottoms. There's one Pioneer over here being attacked by Venator de Gauda, a couple of them actually, and this Rini, and he goes down. But who cares? There's no flags over here.
No, yeah. Not looking too great. Well, I say it's not looking too great for Mimile, but he's on the +2 right now. But it's very much a sort of counterattack happening in the southern side, where he's just right down the road and then attacking south. Is doing pretty good. There's Rini too in a nasty position, but he's taken some heavy damage here, so it's just a matter of time when, yeah, he just gets picked off.
Well, the funny thing for me is that this Rini 2 just took a turret stuck.
Yes, it's really big and massive turret.
Yeah.
How will I ever aim now, Khan? How will I ever aim?
Yeah, so I was going to let that lie there for right now and just kind of shake my head in the direction of Eugene. But that's okay. Meantime, though, the artillery actually has been able to continue being continuous and effective. I do have to say, I'm surprised. The 100 mils are being very, very good at what they do.
Yeah, and he really does need those out and about. He's been keeping those 105s pretty quiet, and also the anti-air as well. Honestly, I'm probably taking out the anti... Well, both the anti and artillery is pretty important, especially later on, because we're seeing Ju-87 coming in hard to deal with that Armada run. Falkarov is going to try and get some revenge, rather, and gets an easy kill.
Yeah, and that's only one of the Ju-87's down, but I'm actually kind of curious. I'm trying to figure out whether or not... Ooh, Falkarov goes down, courtesy really of the ground fire, and a nice little coup de grace, I think from the Hotchkiss. And are the TACMs? TACMs are down in the south. This is very, very bizarre. Somehow there's this last-ditch kind of push has just broken the back of EasternDream here down in the south.
Yeah. Doing a very good job here. Just a little bit of Romanian armor which is left will be enough here. The Stern Pioneers are going to try to rush up the hill, but that one Zerini, his turret may be stuck, but by God, he... Oh no, he doesn't have a machine gun. Never mind. He's completely useless.
Yep.
He's utterly useless. God, if only he didn't have a turret car, he could engage in this battle.
Hey, you can still crush them, you know. I feel like that's kind of very much an unutilized thing here. Happened often enough in Company of Heroes 2. One is oh, man.
Oh, God.
You didn't even have any skill. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to run your guys over.
I've done that a lot in Men of Brawl when I used to play it back in the day. Oh, you could really just cheese entire enemy infantry squads by just running them over with a half track and a dream.
Well, and it's just like, okay, if Corporal Collins over here can't figure out that the big heavy metal death box coming towards him necessitates for him getting out of the way, then you know what? He deserves to get crushed.
Darn award, mate.
Exactly. Just like that, though, too. I mean, it feels like EasternDream didn't really want his artillery pieces to continue being a part of this battle, so he just let them get taken out by the 100 mils.
Yeah, they've now a dream of their own, you could say. But this is interesting how things have developed. I'm really quite shocked that EasternDream is, doesn't have flag advantages. Mimile's done just enough down south to get that nice little +2 and force the engagement into, his more beneficial territory, which is just CQC stuff. And he's just traded very effectively against EasternDream. Because look at EasternDream's front line, it's very bare now.
That's true. Let's just say that wall of steel apparently got melted quite a bit, which kind of shocked me here. Very much shocked me. P4 over here looking to kind of go and at least establish his dominance over those rink-eating troops coming down the roads on the northern side, but that is the smallest victory he can claim here.
Yeah, and those TACAMs will come in and probably easily knock him out here. It's quite funny, really.
Potentially. Though P4C, if he puts guns on the TACAMs, he can at least stress both of them out at the same time. If he got a shot off.
Yeah. And the Unkers going in for the other one. Oh no, going for the infantry.
Oh look, the SDKF said can move its actual transmission. That's wonderful.
Ah! Funny.
Very funny. Almost as funny as the TACAMs. Down south, we are going to see Storm Pioneer making a kind of vague move forwards, but of course, again, at this point, there's really nothing that the 21st Panzer can do, which is a weird sentence considering the opportunities that I think EasternDream had throughout this particular match.
Yeah, and I'd say you still have tanks left available, but I also think just the artillery's done tremendous work knocking out the 105s, keeping the 88 out of action, and you're seeing they're still just being a pain in the ass going after machine gun and bunkers now.
It does certainly seem to be that, doesn't it? 14-10, in the meantime, at least the bleed is a little bit less excessive than it had been. And I'm looking back at the actual deck for the 21st Panzer, I'm thinking to myself, why was there so much an emphasis placed on the 88 mils? And the early one I championed, I think it's a really, really great call. But after that first, when you start to know that your opponent's got artillery on the field, you can bring 2 of the quad flak Vierlings onto the pitch. Why not just go that direction instead, I suppose?
Yeah, and just also using the fighter Focke-Wulf to, he's using it pretty effectively to knock out the cluster Junkers. Just even if you trade, honestly, the fighter Focke-Wulf for the cluster Junkers, I think it's a worthwhile trade. Just keeping your tanks alive here. But no, you're right. It's this artillery park from Mimile is just completely done wonders. Yeah.
Yes.
We haven't even seen the elf map from EasternDream being utilized. There's just been really no area where you can fully utilize. Jesse has a lot in both the recon infantry and the artillery leader infantry in the artillery tab, which is it's quite funny seeing both being used.
It is good. At the same time, you're saying about you weren't too sure about where he'd place that. I don't know. It feels like if he had just utilized it down south, of course, we're hindsight's 2020 here, but had he utilized it down south, it'd be a very, very different tactical picture than what we do see.
Yeah. Also, I think Mimile's pretty much got us on the bags. Let's take us to a ×2 at 29.55.
Oh, 28.55 indeed, sure.
Oh, 28, yes.
And there we go. Say, folks, we're waiting another minute. Gotta get this into high gear. But we're at ×2 over here in the meantime. So, yeah, we still are going to see the occasional bark over here from EasternDream, who, ironically, we never really mentioned. It's not coming from the west the entire time. But the Romanians pulling on a surprise in the meantime. So we're going to see... I'm not going to say this is an unsung hero, but the recon plane, the HS-129, has been really, really, really solid.
Yeah, and he's been able to keep it alive.
Exactly. Well, he's able to keep that one alive. I think he lost the other one.
Oh.
But just like that, another 190 goes down, and looks like down south, a lot of light vehicles, heck, even a PaK-38 kind of trying to engage, and the PaK-38 not even able to do anything. There we go. 3 shots, finally take out attack him. And
now
yeah, please.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, please.
But it's pretty much with the southern side, it's very much Fort Knox. You're just not going to get in there with only Panzer Grenadiers, because Romanian infantry is scary.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm not going to say just because of one of the whole DLC power creep thing here, but just because they're very, very dynamic.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of everything for all occasions.
Yeah, and it's not just one that can, the scouts can suddenly do things like snipe and be on the line and actually go and kill tanks. It's not because of stuff like that. I mean, it's just the fact that there was Zorii come on over here, have a crap load of weaponry. The motos are pretty dang solid themselves. And where are my PTRDs at? Those guys are all dead, I think, at this point, with the Venatoris. But really, really nice opening for them. So.
Mm-hmm. They're just seeing a little bit more armored play being brought in. But once again, he can't really utilize the armor because he can't get past an annoying forestry part. So he's very much just set his armored units up in more of a containment in, a blitzkrieg, because we've seen the last time he tried to do an armored attack down that road, and it did not go well.
Which is kind of weird for me, because you said about the zoo coming on in, and I feel like there's enough opportunity from the zoo to really push down even with the forces that were there. I just think that it was just like, okay, we're going to go on this highway to hell, and let's just start blasting AC/DC, and that was that.
Yeah. Freebird just came on the radio and they had to go,
Exactly.
There's no breaks.
Exactly. Unfortunately for EasternDream, we'll need to take a break from casting his games over here because Mimile takes him out, ending with a 19-5 on the map.
Damn. And then the KD, not that crazy. Only a 700 or so difference. 705? 695? I can't do math. It's one of those numbers.
Yep, 705.
Okay, cool. I can do math.
Zrini, in the meantime, did solid. The HS-129, the scout plane, takes out a Panzerschreck and a 231 and an MG42. Well done, sir.
There's guns?
And the Zrini, oh yeah, it's got 20 mils.
Oh, nice.
Zrini 2 in the meantime, I'm not even going to try to butcher that name on air. Takes out a ridiculous amount of light vehicles. Well done there.
Wow.
And this Venatori Mate over here.
Yeah, he managed to use his, little anti-tank, and he had a decent amount of anti-tank, but lack of tanks effectively to knock out all the 21st armor.
Yes, indeed. The other side, let's sing, here's the 231s. Again, that's light vehicles, very, very good at what they do. I'm really surprised to see that the most killy stuff in this match has been done by 231s and, 250s 9s and 231s and 233s, but yeah, other than that, not a lot to champion. Although, ironically, the Sherman's being driven by a man named Walker. So I don't know if we have like a, turncoat Yankee going on here or what the deal is.
He's the one who taught them how to drive the tanks.
Exactly. Actually, that makes perfect sense now. But anything else, sir?
No.
Folks, in that case, then, it's been a heck of a lot of fun casting this match for you guys here. Until next time, I'm Con Ulrich.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.